order some more spray adhesive. All right, good morning, everybody. So, my name's Brock. I'm the owner and bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. So, usually on Mondays I try to do forging. I don't really have anything that I have to work on right now. I need to get some of this other stuff done. So, first off, we're going to finish grinding this. I sandblasted off the forge scale, so I leave some of the forge marks on these. So the bevels are done to 120 grit right now. I just put some 400 grit on my disc sander. So we're gonna get this cleaned up. Once it's to 600 grit, we're gonna etch it, and then we're gonna get ready for handles. So. It is the 9-inch. I can't remember who built it. I like it just fine, but it's not. There's a couple things I don't like about it. Namely, how you put the rest on. It blocks a lot of things. There's not a whole lot of adjustment in the rest. Beyond that, it's really good. There's just a couple of issues I don't like about the rest. So, all right. All right, now we'll go to the other direction. All right, that's that on that one. Ooh, actually, I see a spot. Yeah, I need to clean up a spot right here. Then we'll switch grids. I gotta go grab another can of this. So that was 400 grit. It was already to 120 grit, and then I did 400 grit just now. Now I'm switching to 600. All right, a little WD. Okay, we are to 600 grit. Cool. Got lots of fingerprints on it, but so this is a the headset. So this is a 3M positive air respirator. I got it off of Amazon actually, because you can buy everything on there. 24-inch disander. That would get really expensive with sandpaper, especially, if you're changing grits all the time, like we do with knife making. I don't know that it would really help. Alright, so now we've got to do some acid etching on it. First things first, I'm going to go clean it off with some acetone. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I have 2 containers of acid that I use. Now this is 50/50 ferric chloride with distilled water. This is coffee etch, but I keep them separated, blades that have copper and blades that don't. So this one's for copper. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit for a while. And in the meantime, we're going to go start cutting some handle material because I have a lot of handles to work on today and this week. Yeah, man, I'm big on wearing a respirator. Every once in a while, I'll get lazy and stupid and think, oh, well, I'm just sharpening a knife or something like that. And then afterwards, I got black boogers. So I know that I messed up. The Coffee Edge Rascal is instant coffee. It's got some extra chemicals in it that help with that process. So it's not doing so much etching as it is darkening. It will latch on, I think it's the hydrocarbons or something like that. Is it the hydrocarbons? It's been a while since I've read about it or seen it explained, so I can't remember what it is, but it'll attach to the blade and it attaches to the etchable material first. It will attach, like if you have 1084 and 15N20, it'll go to the 1084 first and darken that up. It will darken the 15N20 if you leave it in there long enough. So I've had that problem more than once. All right, so set this over there. That's all set. I just need to turn on Yep. Yeah. If even when I've got the shop door open and I'm working with my angle grinder or something, I try to always put it on. But like I said, every once in a while I'll be like, no, I'm fine. And I regret it later. It's stupid. But I feel like we all do that no matter how careful we are. So I'm at his bandsaw. I've got things marked out for how the handle shapes are. We're just going to start cutting them up. think I'll move the angle because, I don't know, maybe you'll be able to see a little better. I'm not doing anything dangerous, so. That's most of it. I've got a few more to do though. Safety glasses. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put safety glasses on. I don't know that I really need them for this because it doesn't spit things forward and I've got the vacuum on, but just to be safe. What grade of material do I use? Well, I don't know what you mean. I use the best materials I can get. again, Indiana, it depends. I mean, you're asking what grade, which means what quality. And if you're asking quality of steel, I get all my stuff in America, where I live. I guess either I'm not getting what you're meaning, or there's a knowledge gap there. Not a huge fan of cutting G10. I don't even know what grade 50 is. I've never heard of that, and that's nothing that matters to high carbon steel from what I know. Yeah. The reason I don't like this stuff is it destroys your blades. So my blades are already going wonky. That's why I did it last. Still means absolutely nothing. I should preface that still means absolutely nothing to me. Never read those terms. There we go. Whoops. All right. Yeah, we don't use low carbon steel. Not for knife making. Maybe for pieces of a knife, but not for the blade. That would never be sharp. Well, it would never stay sharp. All right. No, it's not. It's just an old Craftsman bandsaw. I'm hoping this coming year I'll be able to upgrade. Although I have a lot of stuff I'm hoping to upgrade this next year in the shop, but we'll see. All right, we're gonna set those aside. So those are gonna get done later. Okay. Okay, so we are going to set up 4 blades. These are 4 more blades. I'm going to do these later. Just because they really don't. They're going to take some extra attention. Let's go with that. All right. Little utility knife. That's getting this blue curly maple. All right. So this is not a quick process when it comes to doing the handle material. However, is very accurate and very easy to do. All you need is some painter's tape and I like to cut off the excess. You don't have to, but I prefer it. This will make more sense here shortly. Now I just don't want any folds or creases on there. Just a little closer so I can see. Rascal, I'm pretty sure it would destroy that router bit. So I hate G10 because it has mesh wire in it or something. It sparks all the G10 I've ever used, aside from maybe some really thin off the wall pieces, it sparks when you cut it. So I'm pretty sure that's why it destroys the blades. All right, so tape on both sides. Quick set super glue. This is the gel form. And by quick set, I mean this sets within 30 seconds, fully hardened. It's hard to get nowadays due to safety concerns for kids and obvious reasons. So now I always cut my handle material so it's a little oversized. Well, I'll clamp that, let it sit for a second. On the side. Ooh. We've got a knife that should be ready to come out of the etch. Oh yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do next. All right, have fun. Workshops. Yes. So for people that are local, I do forging classes. I also have a Patreon where I post in-depth videos of how I do things, like what I'm doing today, even though you guys are going to get to see it, and I'm going to explain where I can. It's a little different when the video is focused on teaching. Blacken these. So this is a high carbon blade, and I put it in ferrochloride acid. It's a 50-50 with purified water, and acid darkens high carbon steel when it's hardened. It's kind of cool. Usually it depends on your strength of acid. I've had guys say 30 seconds. I've had guys say 15-20 minutes per cycle. I tend to go towards 10 minutes per cycle, but that depends on the blade too. So, all right, let me get something to clean this up with. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lightly sand it and get all the carbon off. I usually wear gloves for this part, but not that it hurts you, it's messy. All right. Okay, so there is the first cycle. So I'm going to spray this off with acetone and then put it back in the acid. All right, let's go back over here. Yes and no. So a lot of those are cold blued. In fact, now that I'm looking at them, all those are cold blued. Yeah, it's just for Damascus, copper kumai. I like to give it a deep etch. It doesn't have to be. You can cold blue it, or you can polish it. Oh, the ones. Oh, these I didn't even make. I have no idea. I'm guessing so. This looks like a stonewash pattern almost, but I had a customer bring 4 of these in with paracord wrap, and so I'm going to be putting G10 handles on them. So these are my version of a stonewash, real aggressive stonewash. So what I did is I etched these twice. The second time I neutralized them, sprayed them down with WD-40, and then threw them in the tumbler with some water. Randy, it definitely takes talent, but there are different levels. You know, you take somebody that consistently makes knives like this shape, right? I can't say anybody can do it, but most people can do it. And it's just about time and stuff. Time, materials, having the right equipment. Now, you come up with something like this, that's a lot different. That's a lot harder technique, especially that brass Damascus there. You know, and the core of this blade, which is dang near impossible to see through this camera because of the, oh, there you go. So that's 3,200 layers Damascus, and then I polished it. That's my last blade standing competition sword that is, well, it's not almost done. I still got a few things, but it's getting there. Okay, back to what we're doing here. So on these, I'm going to not worry about taping up the, this is my Carta, OD micarta. I'm just going to tape up the blades because when I pull these off, I'll just sand them flat again. Not a big deal. They have to get, because they're shiny anyways, I have to go through and sand them. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But I don't want, there we go. So it's a tiny little drop. I forgot to grab my clamps. This is where oversizing your handle material just a little bit really helps. Now for this big cleaver, I am going to tape the handles because they're wood. Now they are curly maple, and I know it's really strong stuff, but when I go to take these off and it's wood, I prefer to have the tape on the wood. I can use a razor blade, get it off on here, or I can tape it. Works either way. Yeah, and that's it. And the other thing is determination really, really matters. I don't know how many times I've been working on a project like this and had people say, man, you're just, it takes too long to do that. I wouldn't waste my time doing all that, doing that extra stuff. Like the brass Damascus. I had somebody just this weekend tell me it was a waste of time because the failure rate is so high. Even if you're really good, there's a high failure rate. So with the brass Damascus, it took me 5 tries to get it on that blade. Now, granted, I figured out that 4 of those, or no, I got it on the 5th try. The first try, it held, and I drew it out and I can use it later. It's just too thin. So I redid it. The 3 tries after that ended up being the steel. Brass does not want to bond to steel, so it has to be perfect conditions. And what I figured out is one side of the steel I was using, because I get them in big plates and I cut them down to manageable pieces, one side of that steel was contaminated with something and the brass did not want to adhere to it. However, that same steel made Damascus just fine. No issues, no cold spots or anything like that. It's just brass is really finicky. But just this weekend, I had somebody tell me that, it was pointless to work with brass and to try to do stuff like that. I disagree. I enjoy a challenge. But can anybody be a knife maker? I would have to say yes. Is everybody going to be at the same level? Absolutely not. I mean, there's some knife makers out there that I look up to and go, I can't imagine ever doing that. However, I look back at myself when I first started and the blades I put out compared to the blades now, it's night and day difference. So time, practice, and you have to be able to have the right equipment and the right materials. For me, I'm a disabled veteran. I can't hammer on an anvil for 6-8 hours a day. I just can't do it. So I've got a forge press, a power hammer, a rolling mill, and a few other things that just make the process easier. Less strain on the body. All right. Out of the clamps. Weird. I heard our cat crying, well, calling, I don't know, meowing. And he sounded a little distressed, but I don't see him. I think he just wants in because it's cold. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill through the holes on all these. Then we're going to glue the other side on of the handle material and drill through this side. That way, by doing it this way, no matter how many pins you have, you'll be able to line them up. If you stack up the material like this, put the blade on top, that's how I did it when I first got started, you will have issues lining up your holes. Now, this is an 1/8" hole, but I'm using a number 30 bit, which is just a little bit over a true 1/8". Because a lot of the pin material is a true 1/8", and so you're not going to get it to fit in the holes right. So we've got all the 1/8" holes done at a number 30 drill bit. And I keep my oversized bits like this. So now we're going to a quarter inch, which I'm actually using a number F. These are the same bits I drill the holes out in the steel. Same sizes and everything. That way I'm not fighting this portion because I drilled them at exactly an 1/8". I need a new drill press in a bad way. All right. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing to the handle material that we just did. That way we get this other side super glued on, holes drilled. Then we're going to pull all the pieces off and work on what would be your bolster area. Oops. Whoops. Now it's hard with these bigger ones to get it nice and straight lined up. Because they want to move like that. I think that's our cat crying outside, but could be wrong. Go take a peek again. I don't see him. Hi, Mishka. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of my goal with the TikTok. That and the Patreon that I have. So the other thing I'm going to talk about real quick is I've had people ask why I don't finish the spine on full tang knives. Why? Because you're going to grind on that spine back here. And if you don't finish it at the same grit all the way up, you're going to have a transition line right in this area, and it looks funky. Now, I used to try to clean it up a little bit by hand and, call it good, but that was a while ago, and I've realized that the better way to do it is just wait. Don't spend the time on going to 1,000 grit or whatever on the spine. Wait till you do the handle, and then on your last, couple grits, go all the way, or at least do a couple passes with 120. And that way your spine is even all the way down. You can still round the spine over, do that with one of your last grits. That way it's not a real gradual angle, but it's not a cut you sharp angle. It's just going to round it a little bit. The forge setup. Well, I'm not really doing forging right now, but the forge is over there, right there. So that is a forced air propane ribbon burner forge. So, all right. Okay, so we ended at that 1/4 inch. So we're going to go through and do all the 1/4 inch holes, which are the lanyard holes, and then we'll switch to the 1/8. I have a lot of people come on lives and they ask about the forge or how to get into knife making, and that they're planning on building the forge soon and everything. And I always say the same thing: if you're not already a knife maker or bladesmith or a blacksmith, but you want to be a knife maker or bladesmith, forget the forge. Start with a 2x72 grinder. Every knife you make has to go past that piece of equipment. Not every knife you make has to go through a forge. You will learn more and be a better bladesmith if you focus on the fundamentals of proper bevel grinding, putting an edge on, proper handle shaping, all that stuff. A forge helps you zero in that area. Now you can forge bevels, but you're still going to have to go to the grinder, clean them up. Now with my Carta and G10, even though I go oversized on the bit, I have to run the bit through in both directions or it'll tend to grab on one side. I'm talking about the thin material. love this little utility knife. I'm stoked to get the handle sanded and polished up because this is some really nice curly maple. And it's got some great color to it. Now when you see woods like that, they're colored, they've been dyed and stabilized to get that color. When done right, it does not adversely affect the knife in any way, especially with the stabilizer. All right. Okay. All right, so now on the ones that taped, pull right off. Does leave some little residual super glue, but you can just take a little razor blade and scrape them off. Or you can go to the sander. I don't recommend doing that unless you have super steady hands, because if you end up going too far, you're going to ruin whatever pattern you've already put on your blade. Now, taping them, everything comes off really nice and clean. So why wouldn't you want to tape them every time? Because you have to be careful when you have 2 layers of tape like that. There's a little more movement, and you can actually make your pins be off center. To combat that, you could clamp it. Even just, the clamps that I'm using, that would be enough to keep it in place a little, giving it a little bit more rigidity. So the way you usually take these off with micarta, G10, like desert ironwood, stuff like that, really dense, hard, that's fine. But like a burl, or I've had happen a lot with spalted pieces of wood, there's just too many fault lines. One, I don't drill blades that are sharp, and if I do, I'm gonna wrap them, with paper towel and tape or something to help minimize the chances that I get hit. And I'll just hold on to it with one hand. Now, because they're not sharp, I can hold on to it on the edge or whatever. I do prefer to hold on to it spine into my fingers and just go that way. And so you always have a hand on the knife. It's not going to do that. Now, when I'm doing 2 knives that look similar, I'm going to mark them in one way or another, that way, and mark the handle material too. Because unless they were cut on a water jet or a laser, they're not going to be perfectly the same. even if they were, I could see how that could potentially be a problem. All right, so I'm going to start with this one. There we go. You don't have to get all of the super glue off. You really don't. Get most of it off, as much as you can. But if you can't get it all off, it's really not going to hurt anything. Unless you're working on something that's got super tight tolerances, that's a little different. There we go. Those I'm not even going to worry about because we're going to sand on them. All right. I will tell you guys I'm fighting a cold. Our littlest one came home sick last Wednesday, and it's been interesting. I stayed in, hung out with him all day Friday, most of the day Saturday, and a good portion of the day yesterday, just hanging out, keeping him company. He's starting to get better. Okay. Oh. Wait a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to go do is I'm going to spray this down with WD-40. I'm going to let it sit. That's going to allow all the hydrocarbons, that's the black stuff, to really adhere and harden up. I mean, yeah, you can do that, Randy. I just prefer to actually keep a hand on the blade. That way I can also make sure that the blade's nice and level, not getting canted one way or the other, that kind of thing. All right, let me spray this down real quick. Okay. All right, now we got, whoops, getting hung up. So we'll just leave it right there so it doesn't get hung up again. All right. Now I got to pick pin material. One piece for black mica. I'm thinking doing them all steel. All right, so 2. So we need 11 of these. First layer. Okay. So, pin material ready to go. We're just going to do all steel pins. And I think we'll do steel lanyard hole as well. I think this is stainless. Pretty sure that's stainless. So, same thing, we're going to cut 3 of them off, clean them up. Definitely stainless. Sorry, I'm just grabbing a piece of sandpaper over here. Actually, I gotta do some housekeeping. Put stuff away or it's gonna bug me. So this is a honed piece of granite. So it's as flat as you can get. I have to take these off a different way to start. I should have scraped them. I don't know why I didn't. Because I usually don't have to worry about scraping them, that's why. That's how they usually come off. And that is why you have to sand micarta and G10. Because otherwise, that surface is so slick, it might not adhere properly. Alright. Yep. So that was just, the blue is the residual painter's tape and super glue that I had on there. Now, regardless if I had that on there or not, I need to sand the mating surfaces of this micarta where it's going to be next to the handle or the tang of the knife. The reason being is that surface is nice and shiny and the epoxy is not going to want to adhere to it. Real easy to fix. Yeah, double-sided tape would definitely work. I haven't tried it. I know they make really thin stuff like double-sided carpet tape and stuff. I just never have tried it. It's a good idea and should work the exact same. All right, so now I just want to put a couple pins in each set. They don't have to be the pins they're going to have in the end. It's just to hold them together. Okay. Got all 4 of those set. Old leaf spring. Well, depends on how old it is. When I first got started out, I was told make sure it's like mid 70s and older. Otherwise, you're really gambling on what steel it could be. Even then, there's still a possibility it's not going to be 5160, which is what you're looking for spring steel. I guess my other question is, do you have heat treat oil? And my advice, take your time, have fun with it, especially if it's your first one. You're probably just going to end up with a knife-shaped object on your first go, and that's fine. I don't think I have mine anymore, but I had some of my original forging knives sitting around that were just ugly as hell. So don't expect too much of yourself right away. Have fun, learn, make mistakes, and then try to fix them. Don't give up. And even if you don't get it done in one period, one forging session, mess with it later. I've got pieces that I've had sitting around for 6-8 months. They're little side projects, and I just haven't done the second round of forging on them to get them really cleaned up. Oh, the other thing, make sure your forge is the right temperature. Last blade standing. Doc, how you doing? Make sure your forge is the right temperature. By which I mean, there should be no shadowing inside the forge. You need to let it heat up fully. If there's any dark spots or shadowing inside the walls of the forge, you need to let it go longer. Same with the steel. The steel should match, especially if you're forge welding, which I know you're not, but the steel should match the color of the sides of the forge. And there shouldn't be a shadowing on the steel. That's how you know everything's at the same temperature. I always tell people don't start with forging. Start with a grinder. But if you're already there and you're already going to start forging, do it. Have fun with it. All right. Now we got to clean up the bolster areas on these. Get them ready for glue up. Come right over here to the trusted, oh, I did tighten that on, trusted disc sander. Toss this pile of sandpaper. Ooh, hey everybody, check out the new lights. Just for right there, I've got some more on order. They're really nice for this kind of work. I've had a lot of trouble with shadows when I'm going different directions. Even though I have this ring light, I still had a lot of issues with shadowing. So far, I don't at all with this new light, so I'm stoked about it. I'll be right back. All right, so that was 120 grit. We're gonna jump right up to 600. Whoops. I always keep this side. I don't ever keep these corners though. Now, little WD-40 does help even with wood. All right. Now, I need to, worry about later. All dusty. Actually, I think I'm going to vacuum myself off real quick. One sec. Alright, I try to keep everything clean and organized. Otherwise, it becomes a big mess really quickly. Okay, so we've got those sanded to 600 grit. Now we're going to go over the buffer. Now with the micarta, you don't have to buff it. But on this side of it, on the bolster area, I like to. So we're just using some scratchless. I don't have my Okay, so I'll do the wood at high speed, and then micarta, G10, or even resin, I'll do it at a lower speed because they're more susceptible to heat from friction. You can always just do it fast. Okay. I know, I say okay a lot. I need to stop. I'm sure most people have words that they tend to use a lot, so I shouldn't feel too bad about it. I'm gonna make a little more coffee since I've got more in the pot. Trying to find the right texture of material. That'll work. I've got a big box of rags over here, and there's a certain texture I like for doing this. I know it sounds weird, but okay. Now we're just going to take the handles, we're going to separate them. Now I use, see, I'm still doing it. All right. I use these little measuring cups. I get them off of Amazon in packs of 200. I think it's 200. Same with my little popsicle sticks. Amazon. G-Flex 650. So it's 24-hour. One of the mistakes I made early on was using 5-minute epoxy. Now, if you know what you're doing, it's fine. If not, and if you're new to it, it gets to be a pain real quick. You can also do this by measuring it, which I think is a lot more accurate. I just don't have a scale for that. There we go. That should be good. Okay. Now, I really like using this black, or you can use whatever color you want, I would assume. But I like the black for a couple different reasons. Lets me know that this is all mixed up evenly, and then any gaps on the edge of my handle material are going to be filled in with this black epoxy. Make it look a lot better than if it was a clear epoxy. All right. So now, because I'm using, or is it 45 minutes? I think it's 24-hour. I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, it's 24-hour epoxy. I have 45 minutes of work time. Plenty of time to do 4 knives. No matter how slow you are. All right. See if we can get an angle. You know what I just realized I didn't do with this knife, or any of them, is hit them with acetone. Just on the handles. Does take my numbers off, but that's number 1. Okay. Sorry, I didn't bring all my pins over here. There we go. 2 of the smaller ones. Now it doesn't take a super thick coat, but you do want to have everything covered. Now, I tighten these C-clamps, you know, I mean, it's not crazy tight. I go until I see resin start squishing out. I know we gotta tighten that for sure. I let them all dry like this. This is where that texture comes in that I was talking about. There's a certain texture I like to use for this. But I don't have any more of it. This works just fine, just not as well as what I usually do. So no resin up on the edge of the blade. Got that nice and cleaned up there. And I forgot to clear off the spot for these. There we go. Always try, if you get one of these bottles, these are awesome. They're made for acetone. Buy them on Amazon. They come out 4-pack. They do drip still a little bit. They have an anti-drip system, but every once in a while I'll still get some drips off of it. It's a little annoying, but I definitely made up way more resin, or epoxy I should say, than I need. Although I guess that's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Usually I'm pretty good. I don't get any on me, but this time I did. A lot of guys will do this with gloves on. I don't have a reason not to. I just didn't put gloves on this time. Nice and easy. That right there is why I drill my pinholes the way I do it. Now I can't take credit for the ingenuity of that because that's a trick I picked up off of Jason Knight. He very well possible got it from somebody else. Who knows? Maybe not, though. Oh, back to what I was saying about the bottle. The reason I brought that up is you don't want your acetone accidentally getting into your resin or epoxy. Judge that. Just right. Almost covered up my logo. Almost. Okay. One done. Or one more done, I should say. Getting it all over me this time. Let's see. Yep. All right. Moving on to the next one. Oh. Now I'm just getting messy with it. It's not on purpose. I love how that just falls into place. I've been using this sheet of mica board for a year and a half. Did actually cover up a tiny bit of the logo on that one, but that's okay. Usually I'll go through and mark everything up where I need to sand to and everything, but I didn't on this one. All right. Now for the cleaver. There we go. Sometimes you'll go in at an angle and they'll catch because the handle material is not straight. These don't scratch that the other ones do because they're old. They're old and the metal has started to come through the little rubber guards. Sucks, but yeah. Things don't last forever. Ah, that's funny. That's a first. I've never grabbed the handle like that. It's covered. I'm just gonna toss that one. Okay. Okay. Check the comments here. Drawer of shame. I don't really have one. Yeah, I don't really have one, unfortunately. So, and the reason for that is I recycle, so all my broken blades, or most of my shame pieces are billets. That's what that bucket is right there. Failed billets. Which anymore doesn't happen a ton. Oh, that's right. Now. Okay, so we got this black. I'm going to go to the buffer and see if we can make it look cool. Cooler. Whoops, wrong button. That really brings out the copper. Hey baby, how you doing? All right, so yeah, that. Fortunately, my maker's mark is really subdued on there, but I can still see it, so we're gonna leave it. So now I'm going to. I'm gonna just wax this one. I'm right here. Now wax works way better than oil. Oh, Mishka. Maybe she had the power cord over her back. Ah, stop. Oh, good girl. All right, now I don't remember what handle material that's supposed to have, so I've got to check my notes. Actually, wait, do I have it? No, that's something else. So we've got these 4 knives glued up. See them better over here. Those 4 knives glued up. Tomorrow they will be ready to grind and shape on the handles. Get the handles done and then sharpen, and they're ready to go. So one of these 4 knives is going to be available on the website eventually. The other 3 are special order stuff. So and it's going to be one of these. Different design for me. Well, not different, but a new design. So, yeah. Not too bad. So this is kind of a early live. It's going to be a short live, unfortunately, because I've got 2 sick kids inside, and I'm going to go take care of them. So, if you guys don't have any questions for me, which I'll give it a minute for questions. I still haven't finished my coffee. See, I show you guys those lights again. I gotta put those all over. Those things are awesome. They weren't hard to put up. At first they were, and I figured out how to do it, but you gotta do it like piece by piece. But once you get your first octagon up, it gets easier. So, all right, well, it doesn't look like anybody's got any questions for me. Oh, wait. Goblin. So it's not a 3-finger knife. If you have really big hands, maybe. All the ones I have available right now come with these little pocket sheaths. So those go in, clip out. Okay. I do have the little mini first strikes as well. They are a 3-finger knife, at least for me, which I still really like them. They're comfortable. But to each his own. And this one, the integral bolster version of the Goblin, still has not sold. And then I have one modified Goblin with a long blade on it. Not a problem, rascal. All right, everybody. I'm going to cut off the live, go inside, hang out with the kids, maybe play some Warzone later. So you guys have a great one. Have a great week. No, integral is W1. I don't use D2. I've never worked with it. I don't really plan to. I'm not going to go into all that, but I've talked to a lot of people that use it, and it's fine. But that's the thing, is it's just okay. So I don't use it. It's a steel that's been around forever, and I like newer age steel like ADC or V2. Um, it's got more science behind it than those two. Oh no, no worries, Rascal. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want a D2 blade," fine, I will order up some D2 and do it. It's just not anything I've ordered or had a desire to order and work with. Corrosion resistance. I don't think D2 really has corrosion resistance at all. And high carbons aren't going to have that much. Now, if you're going for like a 15N20, I guess it's going to have a little bit more. But like this one is blued, so that's your corrosion resistant, just like a gun. This has actually got a tapered tang as well. Just kind of a nice little addition. So, all right, everybody, I'm gonna cut the live off. Go take care of the little ones. You guys have a great week. As always, be kind. Much love. I'll see you next time.